Hi, I hope you're doing well. Today I want to talk about things that I don't see myself ever knitting. Now this isn't so much a knitting hot takes video. These aren't opinions formed by like a visceral dislike in certain items. It's more opinions based on what I've learned so far during my knitting journey and observing my own personal taste, my personal style, my preferences. I know that the title of this video might come across as inflammatory and opinion pieces can sometimes get people heated, but there's no right or wrong here, and if you've knitted anything on this list, more power to you. I'm very happy for you, and it's good that we have different personal styles and tastes, right? That's what makes us all unique. And also, what other people choose to knit for themselves and for their lives doesn't matter, does it? So let's start off strong. I will never knit the ranunculus. Which is a bold statement because it is the most popular pattern on Ravelry, I believe. I think there's like 27,000 projects and growing. The ranunculus is described as a top-down round yoke pullover with lace and textured stitches, and I believe that you can customize it to make it long or short sleeved. The reason that I have no interest in knitting this is because it's a circular yoke, and I've realised from pattern hunting and looking at patterns that I like the look of and looking at the fits of certain garments, I don't love how a round yoke looks on me. Any top that draws the eye to like a long piece of detail that goes around and down the shoulders, to me it makes me feel like I look like I have very rounded shoulders and bad posture. I noticed this first when I made raglan self-striped blouse number 1, which is quite a tight fit, and because it was a raglan and self-striping, the stripes went like this over the body, and I couldn't stand it. Like, I dyed it, mainly because of the way that I really didn't like the stripes sitting over my chest. So if that isn't an indication that a circular yoke won't work for me, I don't know what is. Another time that I realised that a circular yoke pattern really isn't for me is when I was looking at the porcelain sweater, which is an absolutely beautiful pattern. I really want to make it one day. And the original porcelain sweater, I think it's a drop shoulder. It's the type of construction where the detail, like the colour work, just ends up going in stripes across the body. And there's a version of the porcelain sweater that's a circular yoke, so the pattern just doesn't sit in like square stripes, it curves around the chest. And despite the original porcelain sweater being so high up on my want to knit list, the circular yoke I've just got absolutely no interest in. I feel the same way about most Fair Isle sweaters as well. I've never like tried on a store-bought Fair Isle sweater and thought that it flattered me or that I felt good in it. I don't really want to use the word flattered because I think it's perfectly fine to wear clothes that aren't flattering, but in this case I just know that if I made it I wouldn't love it. So that is why I will not knit a ranunculus for myself. If someone really close to me in my life was like, I want a ranunculus, will you make me one? I of course would say yes. Like, I'm sure the pattern is really fun to knit and that's probably why it's so popular. So I'm not saying I'll never knit it, but I will never knit it for myself. I think maybe that can be applicable to most things on this list actually. I would probably gift knit most things on this list. The second thing that I would never knit is a bag. And that is purely because I cannot see a world where I would choose to knit a bag over crochet a bag. I think crochet stitches are so much less prone to stretching in my experience, and they have so much more structure to them. I just would not choose to knit a bag. I don't think it would last. I don't think it would be able to hold anything heavy without stretching, unless you maybe, like, I don't know, put a lining in and didn't have the strap knitted. Like, it would be a whole thing, whereas a crochet bag I think could stand up to daily wear and tear. So no knitted bags from me. And number 3, let's talk about bulky weight sweaters. The first sweater I ever knit was a bulky weight sweater, like a super bulky weight sweater. And honestly, it was just impossible to wear. Bulky weight sweaters are too big for you to put a coat on top of, and they're extremely warm. And I just cannot understand a weather condition in which a bulky weight sweater would work for me, and I would choose it over wearing like a lighter sweater and a coat on top. I do want to be at least a little bit prepared for rain at all times, And especially like going from outdoors in the winter to indoors, you do need to be able to take off your layers as soon as you walk into somewhere that's got the heating on blast. And with a bulky weight sweater, like what are you wearing under that? Like a t-shirt or a thermal? You take that off and then you're probably too cold. I have tried the bulky weight sweater, it doesn't work, it doesn't fit into my lifestyle, I'm never gonna make one again. Similarly, I have made a bonnet once and I will never knit another bonnet. And that is because I do not think I have the face shape to pull off a bonnet, and I think I look like a baby. And that's it. That's the only reason. I cannot get over the idea that I look like a baby in a bonnet, so I'm not gonna wear a bonnet. It's just like a mental block there. Some things just aren't for me, and I think bonnets are one of them. I would never have found that out if I didn't make one though, so I'm very glad that I did. And it's in a better place now with someone that doesn't look like a baby when they wear it. I will never knit fingering weight socks for myself. Hear me out. Of course I'm gonna knit fingering weight socks as gifts, that's a given. I am very picky about my socks. I exclusively wear like crew neck white cotton socks out and about. These ones, if you will. The only difference that has happened in the past like 10 years of my sock wearing habits is me switching from ankle to crew neck socks. I don't wear colourful socks, I don't even wear black socks. I wear white crew neck cotton socks. And then when I come home in the winter, if I want to wear a wool sock, I want it to be like a chunky bed sock, like maybe a worsted weight or DK sock. So fingering weight wool socks would just be completely lost on me. I wouldn't wear them. There's no point in me knitting them for myself. I'm going to tread quite lightly with this next one. I don't think that I will ever knit a shawl. I'm not going to say too much on this because I know that shawls are much more popular with people in an age bracket higher than mine, and I've got absolutely no intention of offending or like looking down upon people that have been knitting for decades longer than me and have sort of shaped the knitting community and knitting as a craft into the way that it is now. But shawls are so extremely popular in the knitting community, like in yarn conventions, it's like 50% sweaters on show, 50% shawls. Every time I go on Ravelry to look at a yarn and see how it knits up, there's so many shawls there, and like some of them are real labours of love. Some of them are beautiful, like lace work. I get the appeal of why some people would knit them just for the joy of like crafting something so intricate. But I've never seen a shawl styled in a way that has appealed to me and my fashion sense. I think that if I ever wanted to knit something that gave me the functionality of a shawl, like something to throw over my shoulders and keep me warm, I would want to knit a scarf, like maybe a big blanket scarf or a blanket, just a full-on blanket to wear at home. So I'm sure I'm missing out on the joy of a world of knitting shawls. In the interest of keeping the stuff that I own and my wardrobe fairly small and full of only stuff that I use and love and wear, for that reason I won't be adding a shawl to it. I will never knit a turtleneck sweater. I've never seen a turtleneck sweater pattern that I don't think would look better on me if it were a crew neck or a scoop neck or any sort of lower neck. The whole cutting off at the neck makes me feel like an egg. I never feel like I look my best with that shape of garment. But also the skin on my neck is extremely sensitive, and turtlenecks are a sensory nightmare for me. And a lot of things are a sensory nightmare for me. I have very sensitive skin, and if I feel uncomfortable, I'm just not having a good time. I haven't owned a bra in over 5 years. I would rather own every single version of like a silicone or a sticky nipple cover rather than put one of those contraptions on my body. I have such, this is such a tangent, but I have such an issue with the world at large teaching like 12, 13-year-old girls that they all need to wear this device that, you know, like some of them don't actually need the support that a bra provides, but they get like peer pressured into thinking that we all need to wear one. Anyway, that's not what this is about. Turtlenecks, not gonna wear them. Honestly, the closest I can get to wearing a turtleneck is like a cotton t-shirt material mock neck. So a turtleneck would just be a complete waste of my time. Staying on track with the whole I have super sensitive skin thing, I don't think I will ever knit another wool sleeveless top. I made a few last summer and I didn't wear any of them. None of them have worked for me for a few different reasons. First off, the itch, sensitive skin. I should not be wearing next to skin garments made of wool. That's fine, I've learned my lesson. But also, it's a bit weather confused, right? Like it's warm enough to be getting your arms out, but then you're wearing wool, and then if it's warm and it's next to your skin, you might sweat. and then you have to wash your, like, hand wash your wool garment every time. I am actually knitting a sleeveless top out of cotton merino, and I've just realised that when it's done, like, I want it to be something that I wear a lot, but I'm gonna have to hand wash it every time. And you know, like, that's fine, like, that's not the end of the world. I will do it for one garment that I love, but I don't want a selection of tops that I have to wash every time I sweat, but then I only can wear them in sweaty conditions. You know, like, it doesn't really add up. So in future, when I knit my sleeveless summer garments, I think I'm gonna make them out of plant fibres, machine washable fibres, and just avoid this whole issue. The last thing I have for you today that I'll never knit is a sweater vest. I think it was around 2021 where sweater vests got pretty popular, and I tried on loads. I think I even bought one, but I don't really like them for two reasons. The first of which being that I think I prefer my tops to either be quite slim fitted and skin tight almost, or extremely oversized. Both of those options make me feel quite good in my body, but the sweater vest kind of meets in the middle in the wrong way, where it's oversized in the body, but then my little skinny arms are sticking out the sides, and I don't love the way that the proportions look. I also find them really hard to style. Like, I've never seen them styled in a way that I really love, apart from with like a white oversized shirt underneath. But I don't wear shirts, like, I don't really have a preppy style, so I know that they're just not for me. I can admire them from afar and I can admire them on other people, but they're not something that I need to bring to my wardrobe. These are all conclusions that I've come to as I've become more confident figuring out what my personal style is. I also watch a few YouTubers that ask really sort of poignant questions about fashion, about the clothes that you wear and you buy. One of which is Hannah Louise Poston. I really recommend her if you like this sort of content and like thinking about your wardrobe and what works for you. And I think with knitting it's especially important because you're pouring so much time into making a project. If it ends up being something that you don't like wearing at the end of it, it can feel a bit disappointing. If you knit for other reasons, like if you knit purely for creativity or to create like one-of-a-kind pieces that might not be something that's in your wardrobe, it's less relevant. But for me, that's why I knit and why it's important for me to know what I like and especially know what I don't like. Let me know if there's anything that you know that you would never knit for yourself. I hope you enjoyed this and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!